Hello, my name is Israel Maimon, and I'm the President and CEO of Israel Bonds. Good afternoon, and welcome to today's global event of Israel Bonds. I want to thank all of you for your ongoing involvement, for your support and commitment for Israel Bonds. In this period, it is even more important since we have to keep on securing the economic future of Israel. Last week, S&P, the rating agency, affirmed Israel's credit rating at AA- and kept the outlook at stable. This is their report on Israel, while at the same time, they downgraded 20% of the countries they reviewed and 15% on negative outlook. Same, by the way, they've done to many, many corporates. So we can take great pride of our homeland, Israel, but we have still a lot of work ahead of us. And Israel Bonds, as I'm sure all of you are committed to work hard in order to secure Israel's needs for additional capital. To present our speaker today, I want to welcome Jay Sottenstein. Jay serves as Israel Bonds General Chairman for the Columbus area. Jay and his family are long-time dedicated supporters of Israel Bonds, the State of Israel, and of so many other Jewish causes. A legacy started with Jay's father, Jerome, beginning with the launch of Israel Bonds in the 1950s. So Jay, thank you so very much for everything you have been doing for the State of Israel and our people. Jay, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. It is my honor to introduce Israel's permanent representative to the United Nations, Ambassador Danon. It is appropriate that I do so in front of a global audience because for the past 5 years, Ambassador Danon has stood before diplomats from throughout the world to present Israel's position with clarity, passion, and eloquence. He has proudly shared Israel's achievements, defiantly answered detractors, and excelled in representing not only his country, but supporters of Israel throughout the world. Ambassador Danon has also strengthened Israel's relations with the international community, not only with the long-standing allies, but also with nations that currently do not have formal relations with the Jewish state. As Ambassador Danon concludes his service, I say on behalf of everyone listening, Todah Rabbah, thank you for your service. Now it is with gratitude and appreciation that I call on the ambassador.
Thank you very much, Jay. Thank you, Chairman Goldstein, President Israel Maimon, Zevik, so many friends. I wish I could see you in person and give you an Israeli hug like I'm used to do it. And I hope it will be very soon that we can actually meet and get together again. There are many friends today from all around the world, from the Bonds family. And after 5 years in New York, I feel like part of the Bonds family. And I want to thank you for hosting me today. As we all know, it's a unique situation. Also at the UN, we are doing everything remotely. We even vote remotely. In June, we're going to have a vote for the seats in the Security Council, and we are debating how to handle it. So I want today to have a discussion with you, to share with you the challenges we have coming up in the next few weeks. I'm still not concluding my term, even though I'm starting to think with my wife Talia and my kids about going back to Israel, and we are excited about it. So I'm not concluding yet. I'm not writing books, but I think when we will have the dialogue, I can look at things after 5 years serving under 2 administrations, 3 US ambassadors, 2 secretary generals. I'm delighted that we were together in many of the achievements that we achieved in the UN. So I would like to start with the issue of Iran. It is still, even though you don't hear a lot about it today because we are focused on the pandemic, but Iran is still the number one threat to the US and to Israel. And in October, the UN will decide whether to continue with the army embargo or not. And that's a crucial stepping point, because as of today, the Iranians are not allowed to trade with weapons, even though they are doing it illegally. And in October, if the sanctions will not be renewed, they will continue and they will spend billions of dollars on buying and selling arms all over the world. As of today, and I know that in the bonds you are very good in numbers, so think about that: $7 billion a year. That is the budget that the Iranians are spending on their proxies in the Middle East supporting terrorism. If those sanctions will not continue, I think this amount will at least double itself. So we are working together with the US, trying to convince other countries in the Security Council not to lift those restrictions. It is very important for us. And I want to thank Secretary Pompeo, who actually came to Israel, and one of the main issues that he discussed with the Prime Minister and other dignitaries was the issue of Iran. It was his first visit outside of the US. And also for the US, it's a crucial issue. And I hope that some countries, especially in Europe, will follow the lead of the US. We have seen a good sign coming from Germany when they declared Hezbollah as a terrorist organization. That was a good sign, but still we have to work on France, the UK, and other countries. The second issue that we are dealing with in the next few days is the issue of the border between Israel and Lebanon. Over there you have the peace force, we call it UNIFIL. It's a major force, 10,000 soldiers coming from different countries, and they have a specific mandate according to a Security Council Resolution 1701. They're supposed to push Hezbollah from the border, and according to the resolution, Hezbollah is not allowed to be near the border, and they are not allowed to bring weapons to dig tunnels. Unfortunately, it's not the case. When we see what's happening today, Hezbollah is on the border. We all saw the tunnels, very impressive tunnels, and we assume that they are continuing with the hostile activities. So today, together with the US, we are demanding to amend the mandate of UNIFIL in August. Yes, we want to extend the mandate, but we want them to be more effective. We want them to report violations. We want them to have freedom of movement. Today, for example, if a Hezbollah force is suspecting something in southern Lebanon and they want to approach the site, the Hezbollah will block them. They will tell them, you cannot go in. It's a private area. Please make a U-turn and get out of here. And that's what they will do. So I'm demanding that they will report it. At least we will have a list of all those sites. So in the future, if we will mobilize our IDF to neutralize the threat, no one will blame us, because we will have the reports of UNIFIL coming every week or every month. So that is something I'm working together with Ambassador Kelly Craft. We started together with Ambassador Haley, and we have to push. The US is giving a lot of money to the UN, a lot of money to UNIFIL. That's how we have some leverage in order to change the mandate of UNIFIL. Now, we're all dealing with the coronavirus, and I know that you are very involved in that, and I know that the government of Israel mobilized you to continue with your activities, and I want to thank you for that. I know that it's easy now for you to bring more money to the government, but I think that especially in time of crisis, we see that our friends from the bonds, the importance of coming together, standing with the state of Israel, and today we have a crisis, economical crisis ahead of us, and I know that we can count on your support, and we are grateful for that. Regarding the pandemic at the UN, Israel is leading, and we have a lot of events. A few weeks ago, we hosted the Director General of the Ministry of Health, and we had dozens of ambassadors joining us for this briefing. They asked us questions, how we do it, what we can do to help them. It was fascinating to see the engagement. And a few days ago, we held another conference about science, technology, and innovation, which I lead this year with the ambassador of Ghana. So at the beginning, the answer I got from the UN officials that because of the pandemic, we are canceling all events. And I told them, no way. Why to cancel the event? If we are talking about technology and we have pandemic, we have to prove that we can actually continue with our activities despite the virus. And that's exactly what we did. It was 2 days. We had thousands of participants, best speakers from all around the world. Almost 10 countries joined us sponsoring the event. And we proved that we can do things despite the virus, and Israel is leading. I don't know if the vaccination will come from Israel. You know, we all pray that we will have vaccination ASAP. I wish it will come from Israel. Just imagine what will be the reaction of those who promote BDS, whether they will boycott the vaccination or not. There are a few labs in Israel that are working on it, one in Kiryat Shmona, one in Nes Ziona, and I hope that in the next few weeks, we will hear some good news coming from Israel. You know a lot about the UN, and I met most of you. I came to your communities, not all of them, but we met a lot and we spoke a lot about the UN. So today, when the UN is working remotely, it's not bad for Israel because they have less energy to focus on Israel. So, for example, when we have the Security Council debate, the meetings are much shorter. Usually it will take 6-7 hours, and I have to sit there in the room and listen to all those live. So now when we do everything remotely, the statements are shorter, and for us it's better. And I hope that also in the future, they will focus on the important issues and not only on Israel. One thing I think we will have to put more attention, all of us, not only the UN, but we have leaders from different communities, is about the WHO, the World Health Organization. If I would tell you a year ago about this organization, nobody would care about it. Nobody would pay attention who is chairing this organization, what are the bylaws of this organization, what is the budget of the organization. I think after this pandemic, we realized that we have to join forces and we have to strengthen this organization, shake it a little bit, and get ready for either for the next outbreak, God forbid, or maybe the next virus in the future. We have to be ready for that, and we have to spend more energy and more time. Overall, I think today we are optimistic about Israel's situation with fighting the coronavirus. I spoke with my family, so yesterday they opened the schools. All the school systems in Israel are open, and with me, you know, to hear my children telling me that they wish they could go back to school, that's something which I would never believe that would happen, but that's what's happening here in the US. In Israel, kids yesterday started to go back to schools. The economy is opening gradually, and I think yesterday we had zero amount of new people, new infections of the virus. So we are happy about it, and we hope it will continue like that. And I think now is the time for us to share more of our knowledge, more of our technology. I frame it as techno diplomacy. We should take more of what we developed, share it with the developing countries, and we will see the results at the UN. I know that you have a lot of questions. I will try to answer all of them. But before I give you the floor, I want to say that despite the situation where we are today, I'm optimistic. And this is the story of Israel. We knew how to overcome challenges, how to overcome wars, and also this pandemic. You know, we thought it would be devastating, and it is. We paid a heavy price. We are paying a heavy price here in the US also, but we are strong. We know how to come together, and I think that in a few weeks we will open our borders without asking people to be in self-quarantine. And then I know that many of you will come to visit Israel. I was supposed to meet you in a delegation in the March of the Living, and then in Israel for our Independence Day. I'm sure we will have the opportunity to do it together in the next few months. So I want to thank all of you for the support for Israel, for the unconditional love. I never hear when I meet friends from the bonds about why you are doing that, but if you support Israel, period, and we are grateful for that. And I want to thank the great team of Israel Bonds for the entire 5 years we worked together. I'm not retiring yet. I know people ask me what's happening next. So I'm not retiring. I'm gonna, my friend Nikki Haley told me, Danny, you have to take a vacation for a few weeks and then come back. So hopefully I will have the ability to do it, to go back. And I'm sure that in the future endeavors that I will be involved, I will meet with you and cooperate with all of you, because we have the same passion and love, which is the state of Israel and the Jewish people. So I want to thank you again, and I will be very happy to answer your questions.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Alan Janoff. I'm a member of the Metro New Jersey Executive Council and past General Chairman. I'm also a member of the President's Club, chaired by Helene Herbstman, which is proudly sponsoring today's global event with Ambassador Danon today. Mr. Ambassador, I speak for all of us when I say what a privilege it was to hear from you today. We thank you not only for joining us today, but also for all the work and service you've done for Israel and the Jewish people. Ladies and gentlemen, Ambassador Danon has agreed to answer some questions. So today we begin with a call from Jay Schottenstein, Chairman of the Israel Bonds Advisory Council in Columbus, Ohio.
Ambassador, we hear about the annexation, but what's your opinion of that? And how do you think the reaction will be with our Arab country allies?
So first, Jay, I learned from Yitzhak Shamir, who was a mentor for me for many years ago, that you have to think about the wording. So I don't use the term annexation. I call it applying Israeli sovereignty on the communities in Judea and Samaria. I think it's important. Also, when Menachem Begin applied sovereignty in 1981 on the Golan Heights, there was a discussion in the Knesset, and he said, don't call it annexation. You cannot annex what belongs to you. It is a sensitive issue. I get a lot of phone calls from many leaders from all around the world, and they ask me, Jay, it's happening or not? It's only a game, because many times you see declarations and nothing happened after. And I tell them the truth. I tell them very directly that according to the coalition agreement, in July, the Prime Minister can bring it to the table of the government. If he will do it after consultation and coordination with the US. And you know better than me about the elections here. And some people tell me it can help the president. Some tell me exactly the opposite. But there will be coordination between the Israelis and the US. And only then the Israeli government will have to decide about it. Once it will decide about it, we will deal with the international arena. And I always tell my colleagues in Jerusalem, you take the decisions you believe in that are good for Israel. We will deal with them here at the UN or in the international arena. And I want to remind all of you that 2 years ago, when President Trump moved the embassy, it was very similar. There were a lot of threats that there will be intifada and what will happen here, what will happen there. And here we are 2 years after, and everything is okay regarding the embassy, or the US embassy in Jerusalem. So I think we have to speak with our allies. We have to speak with Jordan. We have to speak with Egypt. We have to handle it correctly. But at the end of the day, the Israeli government will be the one who will decide about that.
And now I call on Carolyn Verdugo of France.
Thank you, Jay. So I'm Carolyn Verdugo, and I'm a member of the Israel Bonds Women Division based in Paris and chaired by Elizabeth Cohen. Mr. Ambassador, the conclusion of your term comes in the midst of the COVID-19 crisis. Although Israel has undertaken several initiatives to help the Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza, there have been attempts to deny Israel humanitarian actions, and you even spoke about anti-Semitism. Nonetheless, have you noticed an increase in support from the member states for Israel's undertakings? And what can Israel do to more effectively promote its humanitarian efforts?
Thank you, Caroline. This is unfortunate. 2 months ago, we had a debate in the Security Council, and everyone praised Israel for supporting the Palestinians, for providing equipment, medical equipment, medical training. And at the end of the meeting, they put up a statement praising the collaboration. And a day after, the Palestinian started to blame Israel, to send letters against Israel, and the lies, and the language they used, it was horrible. You know, I don't like to repeat it, but with you, I can share it with you. They blamed our boys and girls from the IDF for spreading the virus in Judea and Samaria. They said that our soldiers are spitting on the doors of the cars in order to spread the virus, and that the employees, the Palestinian workers who come to work in Israel, we force them to go back in sewage canals in order for them to contain the Palestinians. Ridiculous, horrible, and that's anti-Semitism. And it's not new. When you look at history, whenever you had like a major plague, a major pandemic, there were people who were blaming the Jews for that. And that's what the Palestinians are trying to do. But I think most of the Jews are not supporting it, are not buying those lies. Beside Iran and Turkey, who referred to that, everybody denounced it, and it's important. But for us, it's a lesson about the Palestinians, and I think it's a lesson for the future. I think they care and they focus on hate more than about their future. Because instead of taking advantage of the situation, asking for more funds from the international community, more cooperation, they focus on hatred and incitement. And that's unfortunate. And I think only when the day will come, hopefully, and we pray for that, that they will stop with the hatred and they will start care about their own children, we can see some real cooperation. But we are helping them. The Ministry of Finance allowed a major loan to the PA in order to help them during the crisis. And we have a real interest to control the disease, not only in Israel, but also in Gaza and in Judea. Yeah.
Our next question comes from Robert Eisenman. He's member of the International Board as well as the Board of Canada Israel Securities Limited and CISL Board.
Shalom, Danny, and Yasher Koyach to you and Tali for the incredible job you've done over the past 5 years. I think it's been transformative, and you're leaving very big shoes to fill. In your remarks, you talked about, I think you used the term techno-diplomacy, and perhaps you could just dive a little deeper to tell us what impact techno-diplomacy from Israel is having on relations with other countries going forward.
Thank you, Robert. So I have had the honor to take with me to Israel more than 100 UN ambassadors. And some of you had the honor to meet them when we spent some time together in Israel or in Poland. And during those missions, I learned a lot. I learned that we Israelis, we focus a lot on issues about security and defense. And I speak always about Hezbollah, Hamas, tunnels, all the challenges. But most ambassadors, they cared about innovation, agriculture, desalination. So I understood that in order to get them to support Israel, to be involved with Israel, we have to change the language and to speak about topics that they care about, that they want to bring back to their countries in Africa, in Asia, in the Pacific Islands. And I think we are doing it, but not enough. I think today we are in a situation where we are a strong country, strong economy, and we have to share more knowledge and technology. And we will find out that once we are doing it, those people will remember it for generations. I want to give you an example. I visited Singapore about 3 years ago. And when I met the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Singapore, he told me, and I thanked him for the support because they do support us at the UN. And I told him I'm grateful for that. So he told me, Danny, we will never forget what happened in the 60s. And I prepared myself, so I knew what he was talking about. But basically in the 60s, they started to build their nation. They started to build their military. and they seek support and guidance in training. So they went to different countries. They went to India, to Egypt, to other countries. No one wanted to help them. And in 1960, Israel was a poor young nation. In 1960, we reached to them. We sent them the support and the training that they required. And until today, 2020, they are remembering that Israel actually helped them. So that's what we need to do today with many developing countries all around the world, help them with technology, medical equipment, drip irrigation, everything we can. In the future, they will.
I now call on Alyssa Zucker of Los Angeles, who along with her husband, Edward, were recently named co-chairs of the Western Region Advisory Council.
Ambassador Danon, what advice would you offer to Gilad Erdan as he prepares to succeed you at the UN?
Thank you, Elisa and Ed, and I'm looking forward to come and visit you in the West Coast after you assume the new position. So I would tell my friend Gilad Erdan that he has to be optimistic at the UN. You have to believe in your ability to make a change and to build friendships. And sometimes you have to reach out, even to countries which are not friendly, even to ambassadors who are afraid to speak with you. And today, when I go back, I have dozens of friends from all around the world, many of them from countries that they still don't have diplomatic relations with Israel. And I can tell you that once you approach someone and you speak with him, you invite him for a Shabbat dinner, all of a sudden he discovers things that he never realized. And I think the UN is the best place to do it. Yes, we have to work with our allies, with our friends, but also it is the best place to reach out, to build bridges, and to aim high. And I think that this is a way to continue with the victory at the UN. You know, I have proven that the UN is not the playing ground of the Palestinians anymore, but you have to initiate activities and ideas in order to continue with that. So I will sit with him and I will share with him from my experience, and I wish him the best. And I think today Israel is in a much better shape than it went, you know, after the vote we had in 2016, the shameful result. Today we were able to build, and today we're in a much better shape than before.
And next we have Jonathan Lewis of London, International Board Member and Chair of the UK Advisory Board.
Ambassador Danon, thank you very much for your presentation, and it's good to see you even if it's on Zoom. I wanted to ask you, at the end of last year, we were hearing a lot about improved relations between Israel and the Arab world. Has this continued to develop, or has the political situation in Israel and the pandemic affected its progress?
So indeed, it's still continuing, and that's because of Iran. Whenever we see the threat of Iran, you see those countries are coming closer to Israel. And I can share with you that, you know, I have built relationship with some of those ambassadors, and we have the understanding about how we meet and where we meet. So, you know, they care about their privacy a lot. But whenever there is a crisis with the Iranians, they will call me and tell me, Danny, we need to see you now, immediately. Let's meet ASAP. So whenever you see the threat of Iran there, it will bring those countries closer to us. And it's important also to acknowledge that it's not one way. It's a two-way relationship. And I give you an example, Jonathan. You know, we always speak about what we are doing to help others. But when the pandemic started, we had the issue with medical supply, and we actually mobilized the Mossad. It sounds crazy, but we did it. We mobilized the Mossad to purchase equipment for Israel. And I can share with you that the first country to help us was a country in the Gulf. And the first plane that landed in Ben Gurion came from that country with the medical equipment that we purchased. So yes, we are helping them with technology. We stand together against Iran, but they also stand with us. And I think we will see more cooperation in the future. I always joke with those ambassadors. I tell them, listen, you have to be brave about it. You have to acknowledge what we are doing publicly. Don't be afraid. Look at Egypt, for example. Nothing happens to Assisi when he meets with Prime Minister Netanyahu every September in the General Assembly. I don't think it will happen this year because I'm not sure we will have the General Assembly in New York in this coming September. I think they will have to change the idea or maybe postpone the event completely. But for the last 5 years, it came, we had a meeting, it was public. I think other countries in the Gulf can follow Egypt and can do the same.
And our final question comes from Brentley Gales, chair of the Toronto Women's Division.
Thank you, Alan. Hi, Mr. Ambassador from Canada. Why do you think Israel was so successful in combating the coronavirus?
So I think first we have to acknowledge it, we are a tiny country. People speak about Israel and we all are involved, but we are a tiny country. We have one airport. So it's easy to control. And we took the right measures fast enough, soon enough. We closed the flights coming from China, from Italy. And also the Israelis are disciplined. So we know when we have a crisis, we know how to act together, to come together, and we proved it. And once we were disciplined, we controlled the pandemic. And I think when you add all those things together, that's what brings us to where we are today. And also when, we take a lot of credit, but also when you look at other countries in the region, our neighboring countries, they are less developed than Israel, and the numbers there were not so bad also. And we have the technology, we developed the Magen, the Shield application, which I shared with my colleagues at the UN. That's a unique application that you can install on your phone. And the Ministry of Health will tell you if you were around someone who is infected, and without sharing your GPS data to others. So it's secured, and we started to work with this application. It helped a lot controlling the situation in Israel. So I think when you add the technology, innovation, and the fact we acted fast, that's why we are lucky to be where we are today. But we have to be cautious about the future. And gradually we will open up Israel for flights to come in, for people to go back. We miss you, we miss the tourists, and Israel without tourism, it's not the same Israel that we know. So I think we should be thankful for the actions that we took. And also I would say, we all thank the medical teams, but also the IDF. We mobilize the IDF, and when we speak that the IDF, it's the military for the people and of the people. And we saw it. We saw soldiers bringing food to the elderly in certain neighborhood. We saw soldiers helping the police. So I think the mobilization of the IDF was very important also.
I'd like to thank everyone for your questions. And before I turn it over to our last speaker, happy birthday, Debbie. My wife, it's her birthday today, and I'm very happy that we could get people from all over the globe to be here to wish her a happy birthday. That having been said, it's now time to turn the program over to my good friend, Howard Goldstein, who's chair of the U.S. and International Board of Directors. Howard?
Thank you, Alan. It's a privilege to be here today with you, Ambassador Danon. We have come to know you. We have come to love you for all you do for the Jews of the diaspora. We have come to be inspired by you. You've been a great friend to the Israel Bonds organization. You are Mishpucha. I would also be remiss if I didn't thank your lovely wife, Tali, who's been a dedicated speaker for many years with our women's division events. Another inspiring person from your family. Everyone on the call wishes you a wonderful and safe journey wherever it takes you in the next phase of your career. In the service of Israel, as the worldwide Jewish people applaud you and embrace you.
Thank you very much for everything, for those kind words. And then we didn't have the opportunity to have like a farewell party, but we will do it in Israel. And I'm looking forward to see all of you soon coming to Israel. Keep up the great work that you are doing. Keep up your involvement with Israel and be proud about everything that you are doing. Thank you very much.
Ambassador Danon, we too look forward to a great physical hug with you at a well-deserved celebration in Israel Bond fashion, hopefully, God willing, sooner than later. This concludes our program for the Global Event Series with Ambassador Danon. Am Israel Chai.